Good morning, good afternoon, and good day to everybody. And that will be the last time you hear that clip, because we're not going to call this Between the Ropes anymore, are we, Kenny?
No, as a matter of fact, there's a young man named Mr. Fritz that works in Orlando that has a show called Between the Ropes, apparently, for the last 10 years. I do apologize for not being aware of that.
Me
and
too.
like I said, I didn't name the show, but it wasn't my fault. I mean, don't put the heat on me.
Oh, of course not.
But no, in all seriousness, Mr. Fritz has had the show for about 10 years, based out of Orlando, Florida. Apparently, they're on ESPN radio down there in that local market. And
that's what I
our
heard.
apologies to Mr. Fritz. He was very nice about it. He wrote a letter letting us know that he listens to the show and that he enjoys my work at OVW and everything. But he would appreciate it just due to the fact of confusion if we would change the name of our show, so people don't confuse the two shows. And that's certainly understandable, and if he's got copyrights to it, then... but Between the Ropes, that's a commonly used phrase in wrestling. Could happen to anybody, so... Yeah. No harm, no foul, we'll move forward. And Callie, what about maybe the fans coming up with a new name?
That's a great idea.
For the show. We'll let them make some suggestions. I've had an idea or two. You've had one or two. But let's see what the fans come up with, see if they're any better than we are.
Okay, well, we can do that. So,
and it could be anything with the King and Callie, or, who knows. Let's see what they come up with. We'll give them a week or two to come up with a name for the show. But right now, for the time being, it'll just be Wrestling with the King and Callie for the time being.
There you go. If you got an idea, just email it to Callie@IndieLifeRadio.com. And Mr. Fritz, if you're listening, feel free to go ahead and give us another name, because we don't mind changing that at all.
No, not at all. I think I got a feeling they tune into this radio show here to hear the enlightenment from the King more than they're worried about the title of the show. So not a problem at all.
Okay. Well, Kenny, I wanted to apologize to you for last week for not being there. Would you believe that I was out to eat with my mom? I was in Kentucky, And
I know your mother lives up here, right?
Right. And I was out to eat, and when we left the restaurant, I said bye to her, and I started walking to my car, and all of a sudden, somebody came up behind me and put a cloth over my mouth. And the next thing I remember is waking up the next day, and I had a note on my chest that said, "Tell Kenny to shut up." Do you believe that?
You ain't trying to be just a touch of a smartass, are you, Callie?
Well, you don't believe me?
Now, you making fun of what happened to me is going to make people think that I really didn't get beat up and that poor thugs really didn't try to put me out. Now, come on, Callie, you know better than that. Now, let's not get this show off to a wrong start today. I don't know why you weren't really here last week. Your producers told me that you were feeling ill and that you were under the weather, and I was the one that said maybe that you were kidnapped as a bit of a joke. And let's not be casting doubt on all my fans out there. They got enough trouble from the naysayers and all the negative comment leavers as it is.
Okay, you got me. I was sick. I was sick.
Wish I'd got you, but you didn't show up.
I was sick, though. I do apologize.
All right. Well, I understand we got a lot to do today. We got a lot of things to get into from what you've told me.
Yes,
so
we do.
Let's just get this thing rolling right off the bat. What do we got going on?
Okay. Well, first off, Tommy Fierro had you return to the main show this week on Who's Slamming Who. Now, what brought this about, Kenny?
Well, how about that? The old King hadn't been on the main show at all in 2009, and the last time I'd been on was late in 2008, I guess.
Right.
And the main reason I thought was because he finally got what he wanted. He wanted Jimmy Cornette, one of the most famous people in wrestling, on his show, and even though I think he felt that I was probably the more truthful of the two, the more entertaining of the two, the more educated of the two, and without a doubt, the better looking of the two. But it's radio.
Right.
You don't have to look too good on radio. Even somebody like Jimmy Cornette can surpass on radio. And once he got Cornette, it didn't seem like he had any need for me. And then I think as time has gone on and the doubters about Cornette have started to grow, and the haters of Cornette have started to grow. They're sick of all the WWE bashing. I think they're finally starting to realize that I am telling the truth, and that Cornette is this angry old man who's just carrying a grudge with the WWE, and does some things that probably is going to get him some prison time if he don't get his life straightened out. And Tommy, I think, finally thought, you know what, I better get the King back on the main show, because that is where the ratings are. And then sure enough, he puts me back on the main show, and voila, day one, he said the ratings are going through the charts. The downloads are at a record pace. Thinks that we're going to break an all-time record for most listens to the main show, which right now stands, I believe, at like 44,000 for the main show itself. You got to remember, there's 20 or 30 wrestlers on that network,
right?
And they all, I think, the lowest guy gets like 7,000 listens, and then the top guys, the upper echelon, like myself, we hover around the 30 to 40, 50,000 mark.
Right.
And then, of course, there's the main show with Tommy Fierro, and he does pretty good on his own. He gets about an average of 40, 45,000 downloads a week himself. And then you got your top 5 big dogs on there, which would, as bad as I hate to say it, Cornette's one of them, Kevin Kelly, Jerry Jarrett when he was on the show, Iron Sheik, Lanny Poffo. I know I'm leaving some people out, Bill Behrens, and Jody Hamilton, myself, and a couple others. And we're what's known as the big dogs. And if I left somebody out, come on, cut me some slack. I'm trying to get as many names in there as I can. But those are the big dogs of the show that carry the weight of the show. But it's me that seems to set the pace for where the ratings go. Whenever I'm on the show, the ratings seem to go through the roof. He wanted me back on. Well, he got me.
Of course it
is. And he might not have liked everything that was said, but the ratings, he's a ratings whore. So he sacrificed a little pride, had to eat a little crow to get me back on, but he got what he wanted, and I got what I wanted, because that way when I'm on the main show, not only do I get all his listeners, not only do I get all of Cornette's listeners, because everybody that listens to Cornette listens to Fierro, I get my listeners. So I triple the word anytime I get on that main show.
Well, now, Tommy tossed a suggestion to you on this show. Kind of a surprise now. Let's hear this clip I got here, Tommy's surprise.
All right, let's hear it.
The great debate back in December was so successful, and so many people still to this day talk about it and how much they were entertained by it, I was thinking along the lines of the great debate part 2, Jim Cornette versus Kenny Bolin, Memorial Day Madness on Who's Slamming Who.
And just who in mind do you have a moderating this one?
I actually don't have anyone in mind.
Because I think the fans clearly picked me out of the last debate. There's no doubt about that.
Well, how about that? How about we'll leave it up to the listeners of Who's Slamming Who, and they decide who they want to be the special guest moderator for this, and we'll do anything in our power to be able to.
But you know what? I tell you what. You mentioned that Jerry Jarrett has talked to you personally and says that he's considering coming back.
Well, that'd be a great way to bring him back.
And he told me that he needed time to repent. And I swear to God, I don't lie, Tommy. I've got the letter. I'll forward it to you if you want me to, just so you can read it. And you know Jerry Jarrett's email as well as I do. I will forward you the letter to where he wrote me and said that he needed time to repent for his sins, that he was swerved and misled by Jimmy, and may, due to his friendship with Jimmy, judge that debate wrongly.
Okay, Kenny. Now, what do you think made Tommy want to do the great debate, too? Is he trying to make you look bad by rigging another debate at the Memorial Day Madness, or what?
Well, absolutely not. No, he's not trying to make me look bad. Why would he try to do that? And how could he do that, even if he wanted to? You can't make me look bad. You can make accusations and innuendos, but the people have gradually, over the last 8-9 months, have learned what I'm about. They've learned what the Bolin Foundation is about. You, firsthand, have learned what the Bolin Foundation is about, sitting out there at Gaddyland for 5 hours with me,
yes,
watching me sign those thousands of autographs, giving away hundreds of pictures, if not 1,000.
Right.
Tons of DVDs handed to little kids, big smiles put on their face. Did you see me take much, if any, money at all?